What up, everybody? Pyro Slayer. Today, we're checking out some television, Marquee Moon. And this one's an important one for punk rock. It's 1977. From what I was reading about it, this is kind of like where, at least in, I believe, the New York scene, right? The punk rock started. You guys can correct me in the comments if I'm incorrect here. But regardless, we have checked out a song off of this album, actually, before, Marquee Moon. And that was good. That one's still on my playlist, even for being a 10-minute song, which is, you know, for me, rather shocking. I'm a little nervous just because going into these classic albums, like, if you don't like some of these, like, you're going to get a lot of crap. And I can't help but be honest, but yeah, let's listen through together and see what we think, y'all. Drop down the comments on your opinions and stuff as we go through. I'd love to see those. See No Evil is track number 1.
Fly, fly, fly,
Okay, I first off, I don't really have anything to complain about, honestly. I like the overall sound. I love that guitar tone. I was very impressed with the drums. I like how they utilize the cymbals quite a bit to keep a tempo, kind of. Like, that's what it felt like, at least. Regardless, I really enjoyed that. The vocals just kind of reminded me of like classic rock I grew up with. This was pleasant. Let's go 7-2 for See No Evil on first listen. And keep it going to Venus. Dude, this is, first off, I'm really impressed with the overall production and just like the depth of the instrumental. Like, I was really enjoying that like high-pitched guitar that came in towards the middle of the track, and then the background you could hear, it almost sounded like bongos, but I don't know if it was just the drum playing, doing something a little different, but regardless, it really, really fleshed out that sound in the background there. and the instrumental was distracting me enough that even though this felt like it was telling me a story, I was kind of caught up in the instrumental, even though it was, I don't know. I like that one even more. 7.8 playlist for sure. Friction.
Some big setup. All action just would not let up. It's just a little bit back from the main road, where the silence spreads and the mended holds.
Okay. All right. So first off, the bass really carried this one, like forward, progressed it. The rest of the instrumental was really funky, and apparently our guy likes friction a lot, a lot. I will say this one's a little repetitive for my typical taste, but I still think it was like funky enough and like kind of cool instrumentally. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with a 6 there because even though it didn't really appeal to me all that much, it still like was really solid. Let's go ahead and jump to this next one, Marquee Moon. This is a long one, and apologies if you can hear the wind because it's windy out here.
Hesitating. Well, a Cadillac, it pulled out of the graveyard.
So again, this is like me, checking this out after I don't even know, several listens, because we reacted to this a year or two ago. And while it initially was a little slow growing on me, I've really come to enjoy this sound in general. It's kind of funny because I was like my uncle Dave, when we were younger, he still listens to this kind of music. But he listened to a lot of like Velvet Revolver, Frank Zappa, Rush. I'm kind of curious to ask him about television, to be honest with you now. It's been kind of fun, like going back and checking out some of these bands because I can chat with him about it. Bob Dylan was another one he really liked. And when we were kids, like I had zero appreciation for this kind of music. It was just like, oh my God, it's the most boring shit I've ever heard in my life. But as I've gotten older, I've really come around to just enjoying the overall sound here. And these guys know how to play their instruments as well. Like, this is really impressive. 10-minute song. I wasn't bored through it, but it was making me really chill. Like, I was struggling not to yawn just because of how relaxing it kind of was, honestly. So this was kind of cool to come back to and reanalyze this, even, if it's not the first time. But son of a gun, dude. Freaking wasp. I have a wasp. He was just sitting right there, right up on the wall, just staring at me. Okay, dude. I'm going to have to get this wasp, I think. They're just assholes, man. They, don't care if you're... with bees, with honeybees, they're like, hey, bro, you do you and I'll do me. You can pick them up and you can hold them, and they'll... you don't grab the fucking thing, but, they'll crawl on you and they don't sting you. Wasps are just out... They just not only woke up on the wrong side, they were born on the wrong side. They're evil little bastards. And he's just perched up on the wall staring at me. And he'll occasionally buzz down here and right back at it. Don't fucking look at me like that. So if I get stung, you guys get something to laugh at a little bit. Elevation. Let's keep it going. So I think so far this one might be my least favorite. It's quirky for sure, especially that guitar. But it just nothing really grabbed me here. I don't think it's bad, and I'm still gonna put it in a playlist and see what happens with it. But it didn't. I don't know. It was chill, but it wasn't like it grabbed me like the other ones did. Yeah, let's keep this moving. So hopefully that I don't get interrupted again during this reaction. First, I had my daughter come out to bring me a Pepsi, which was extremely kind of her. But I was trying to talk her into jamming some tunes, and she was like, "No, no." And then the Wasp. What's next? Everything comes in threes, right? Guiding Light. That one already had me humming along by the end of it. I like that one. I like that one quite a bit. Let's go 7-7 for that playlist. 2 songs left. And so far, I think there was only 2 on here that I wasn't a giant fan of, and it's Elevation and Friction. And not, when I say not a huge fan of, like, it still was at least average, you know? This is solid. I don't know what I expected exactly, but I expected the production to be a lot worse than this is. I expected to be a little bit more, I don't know, I guess sort of like the first Velvet Underground album I guess this was 77, so I mean, that was about, 10 years? A little bit more. And the Sonics also had that real, like, tinny production sound. So I expected some kind of production thing, being that, this is such a, but I ain't complaining. This is really impressive, like, instrumentally as well. Like, I expected, I don't know what I expected, but I guess a little bit more, I think maybe these guys had some punk ethics, you know what I mean? New York's punk scene. They emerged from the New York punk scene of the mid-'70s, creating an influential new guitar vocabulary. Okay. While guitarist Tom Verlaine and Richard Lloyd liked to jam, they didn't follow the accepted rock structures for improvisation. They removed the blues while retaining the raw energy of garage rock, adding complex lyric solo lines that recalled both jazz and rock. With its angular rhythms and fluid leads, television's music always went in unconventional directions, laying down the groundwork for many of the guitar-based post-punk pop groups of the late 70s and 80s. And they began as the Neon Boys, it seems. Very cool. Okay, that explains a little bit more to me. So these guys are the ones that, like, put guitars on the map, I guess, probably, huh? I don't know about that exactly, but they removed, I see what it's a different kind of style. Because I was like, Hendrix was 60s, right? But that was he definitely had some blues influence, if I recall. That's another one my uncle really loved that I've never really sat down and listened to since I was a kid. And I don't know if I might have kind of, because the Wasp, jumped off of what I was saying there about my uncle. But I was curious to talk to him about this, and it was been really pleasant talking to him about, like, Velvet Revolver and stuff as well. So I'm definitely curious about some of these older bands and, like, the Sonics. I need to ask him about them as well. I should see what he thinks of the Red Crayola, if he's aware of them, just for fun. That was something that I expected, maybe something a little bit more along those lines, just a little more experimental. But I'm totally happy with what my expectations not being met there in that realm, because this was experimental, but in a different sort of way. It's cool. Prove it. Prove it.
Ducks, the clock, a whisper woke him up. The smell of water would resume. Cave, waves of light, the unreal night. Flat curving of a room. It gets funny. Prove it. Says the facts. Confidential. Now this case that I've been working on so long. confidential. This case is closed.
Another thing I'd like to point out, that's going in the playlist. But I'd like to point out that I think they do a lot with these lyrics for how little, like, obviously, it's not like a propaganda song where there's like just paragraphs about something very specific, but it's very poetic about how like how they kind of, there's a simplicity to the lyricism, but it's very well crafted, and I appreciate that quite a bit. They're utilizing some different words and stuff, and make it just sounds different. I like that. This is going on a playlist. I think I'm gonna go with a. Oh man, you guys hear the wind? I think we're gonna go with a. Damn, I'm gonna go with a 7.8 on that one as well. Torn Curtain, last one. Will this tear my rating? Years. Okay. There we go, guys. That was Marquee Moon. Oh, thoughts. So the instrumental is really impressive here. Again, like I said, I like the production and the mixing as well. I was kind of shocked with how good that was. I really enjoyed the vocals, and I'm all for the simplistic lyrics that have some like depth and just impressive writing skills as well, in my opinion. That being said, this is definitely creative. It definitely had some different sounds. This guitar at the end almost did have a bluesy feel to it, but it was like, it almost reminded me more of like Santana. You know what I mean? Like that kind of side of guitar playing, especially there at the end. There was a part in the middle that it sounded like a cat was meowing to me, and I was like, what is happening? That being said, I'm not all that like blown away by this song. I think it's solid, but I think that one would probably be a little closer to a 6. I'll put it in the playlist just to see what happens with it. Rating as a whole on first listen. I'm going to put this in my list, and I'm going to give it a couple more spins so I can get a good feeling on how that is, and I'll update that over on Album of the Year. Actually, real quick, what we'll do is we will rate that. Rate meow on here. So you can see critic said it's 100, user says 89. I won't be quite that high with it, just to be honest with you guys. I did enjoy it. But I think I will be closer to like every song was above average. We had several bangers, and one could argue that the self-titled track is probably a 10. Like there's a lot of different stuff going on there, experimentation. It's a long ass song, but it keeps you interested throughout. I love how it like does an instrumental bit, and at the very, very end, it just has like 4 lines of like lyrics. I like how it swung back into that instead of just outroing on an instrumental. There were a few that I was like, that were okay, and those were Friction, Elevation, Torn Curtain. Holy cow. That wind is gnarly. Were they bad? No. They were just a little closer to average. And I'm trying to think of what the average would be in my head. But we're going to go with, to start it, we're going to go with an 82. 84. I really enjoyed the sound. I'm going to listen to this a little bit more, and then I'll come back and update this when I have listened to it a couple times. I don't personally, I've mentioned this in several other album reviews, I don't like rating an album right off the rip because I'm always a little hard on albums because I take them for, like if you have 5 bad songs and 5 good songs, it's a 5 in my head. So I'm pretty straightforward with it. This had 3 okay songs, in my opinion, and then the rest, the other 5, those were bangers, like really, really well done. And I think if I enjoyed instruments a little bit more, like if I could play, and my ear is vocals and lyrics. If I was more of an instrument person, I think those other tracks would be just fire as well, because they showcase some pretty cool different things there. But on first listen, I think I'm gonna go with the 8.4, and then I'll update this on Album of the Year going forward. I appreciate you guys hanging out and listening to this album with me. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Oh, okay, there we go. So it looks like this is categorized as post-punk, art rock, glam punk, glam rock, Electra. So were they always on Electra? Or is Electra a big, I definitely heard of them, but were they like more of a DIY setup, or did they kind of become a corporate turnstiles on there? Oh my gosh. Okay, so 21 Pilots. Okay, all right, I see. I'm just curious because I feel like a lot of bands back then didn't really have a label, or they created their own label as well. So kind of curious on that. If you guys have any info on that, I'd be happy to see that in the comments. Let me know what you guys think as well. I love chatting about music, and I like seeing what our community honestly feels about an album. This was a really cool listen. We'll see if it goes up or down with some further listens. I imagine up, because this is so chill and like different. That's fun. I'm Pyro Slays Music. This was Television. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thanks again for listening.